A fair question when it comes to epistemology is, who cares? What difference could any of this make? Well, difference implies choice, which implies judgment, true or false, A or not A, something we did mention briefly, and judgment is something no algorithm, no instinct, no programming, no training can do by itself, even though some prior knowledge is necessary. More on that later. First, every act is goal or telos directed. The right material, the right technique, and the right form to beautify the temple. Reins are good, but only insofar as they lead horses, and horses are good only insofar as they lead to victory. Right and good are value terms. Whose values, though? Yours. The intellect points to truth. The will points to the good. Pointing is what they do. Being pointed at is what they do. It's not true just because you believe it, but you only believe it because you think it's true. Objectively speaking, truth is correspondence with reality, with the first truth being the ultimate end, the greatest good. Now, everybody wants the goods. A chocolate ice cream breakfast is tempting because of what's good about it. I'm not recommending it. But the tempting part is the delicious taste. The bad part would be the inevitable stomachache. Speaking of taste, let's recall the senses. Cameras and microphones collect waves indiscriminately. Every sense, on the other hand, has an appetite, is aimed at what pleases. So we are ready to make a choice. I choose this apple. No, well, it may be a good apple, but that's a bad example of what Aristotle was talking about. Why? I know it's an apple. I judge it to be a good snack. I find it attractive because I'm not a fruit fly, but the choices Aristotle cares about are more consequential, difficult, the kind that require counsel, in which we slowly consider many things and learn from older folks who have acquired a sane understanding of the end, an understanding of ends in practical matters, and whose experiences give them insight into principles. Choice presupposes the deliberation of counsel leading to desire. Freedom, that is, freedom requires both this and that. Freedom has limits, or it would be better to say structure. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Whoever said that, it is true. No living thing can be completely neutral. You can stand for objectivity, but you can only do that if you choose to call objectivity good. You must be non-objective about objectivity. Okay, now, a better example, a big test. Should I study or cheat? Those are two paths aimed at the same good grade. Cheating, of course, is bad, I agree. Still, a good grade is a worthy goal. Aristotle's point is that free choice regards not the ends, but the means to the end. Again, you are not free to not want something you identify as good. You are free, however, to choose how you pursue that thing, with prudence, which examines specific situations against universal principles in order to find out the true notion of what is to be done, the right means based on understanding, which again is the right estimate about a particular end in principle. Understanding separates the good from the apparent good, and that makes choices clear. Socrates even held that every sin was a kind of ignorance or error in reason. But is it? Let's step back here. Free choice of means is called prudence. The choice of ends is called moral virtue. Now, does that mean we can choose our morals? Well, yes and no. Our choices build habits, and habits then influence future choices, which seems obvious and also explains why some people would consider this and others would consider that to be an obvious choice, because of habit, either virtuous or vicious, because it turns out there's no such thing as two paths that arrive at the same destination. Taking a path changes you. Again, it's all about change, and all this means that choices are real. They are not pre-programmed. You can choose to turn away from good counsel, away from prudence, and rely on cleverness or cunning. That might work for a while, but it won't allow you to grow in understanding and wisdom. Understanding of ends and wisdom, a habit by which our mind is perfected in the knowledge of the highest matters. So why does it matter? Why does any of this matter? Again, it's a good question, and here are some other decent questions. Are your choices free or conditioned? Should we think for ourselves or listen to our elders? Is every situation unique, or are they subject to universal principles? Should we ignore our appetites or follow them? The answer, of course, is yes. Yes to all of these options all the time, even though they seem to be contradictory. Nearly every theory has some truth in it, and I'm greedy. I don't want anything left out. All the truth I can possibly stomach, even though these pieces seem to contradict one another. Don't throw them out. That's cheating. Throwing out things is cheating. Instead, we ought arrange them in a hierarchy, a structure to our thinking where it's more than just cleverness, which is indifferent to good or evil, certainly more than cunning. It's prudence, which is built by counsel and itself builds habits, as it connects means with ends, ends made clear through understanding, ends chosen by moral virtue, all coordinated through wisdom to aim at an ultimate goal, or telos of eudaimonia, or happiness, human flourishing.